Welcome, citizens of Gotham. We are here tonight at the Sirens Club with our very own Sparkle Butch unicorn that I've decided to decorate our club with, and my fellow siren, Daniel Pickett, from Action Figure Insider.
Howdy, everyone.
And the lovely Alexis Ned from Hearst Digital Media.
Hello, hello.
We're here to talk about the latest episode, Anything for You. And before we talk about the specific episode, I'd like to ask you guys, what's your favorite aspect of the season so far and your least favorite? Yeah, Daniel.
Excellent question. I've said this a couple of times on the show. I am really enjoying the fact that they brought in Mad Hatter, because I've said before, he's kind of a deeper cut villain. And I think it's nice to see that they're actually crafting, not just an appearance, but like a full, sort of story arc around him. So.
Okay. What's your favorite thing, Alexis?
I think my favorite thing is that they've chilled out on introducing so many characters. We've had just so many villains, heroes thrown at us for so long that now they're like kind of pumping the brakes and giving us more development on the characters. You see more of Penguin's motivations, Nigma's motivations. And when you introduce Mad Hatter, he's gotten a 3-episode, 4-episode arc, which is more than what we've seen in so far.
All right. My favorite thing, I think, is literally just the set of Sirens, if I haven't made that obvious. I love that we have a new location for all the characters to interact, and I think it gives them a place to sort of like let loose, too. We get to see them more in their element, I think, there. So that's my favorite aspect. Least favorite?
Least favorite?
Yes, tell us, Alexis. I know you've had some concerns.
I've had some concerns. I mean, this is a very personal least favorite for me. I am so worried about Butch Gilzine. I am so concerned about him as a character.
Yeah.
I love that they're using more of him. Drew Powell is a fantastic actor. But I'm worried that in the interest of pushing the plot forward, they're making him do things that I feel like Butch wouldn't do. And I feel like they're sort of bending a lot of characters in directions where they might not necessarily be there. But we'll see as the season plays out how that goes.
Okay. Daniel?
For me, I think there's still a bit of inconsistency with the show that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, with the Penguin with the whole mayoral thing, like he sort of toned his hair down and, dressed himself up. But then, man, this episode, again, he's back with the crazy hair like he's in a 90s rap group.
Oh my God.
There's...
He also just went all out, too, like shooting like people in the club where you would think important people were gathered and no one thought that was...
Right?
Everyone's like, this is fine, this is our mayor.
This is totally normal. I know you guys both included Mad Hatter in your favorite thing, and I like the Mad Hatter, and I like that it's a unified storyline, but it's like, I feel like every episode he's been in, it's gone like too overboard with...
like too violent and then dark?
I think that there is a level of violence that is very true to Gotham, and it's sort of like the fantastical element, but his is like, it's like, like incest, abuse, just like murdering random innocent ladies for no reason.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
you're not wrong with
we can calm down, Mad Hatter. Yeah. So.
There definitely is a bit of that. It has taken a darker tone, and you wouldn't think, I mean, even with the whole Hugo Strange thing last season, like that had more sort of a psychological darkness, but not like a violent darkness.
Yeah, exactly.
But it really does feel...
It's sort of very visceral right now.
Yeah, very different shift this season for that. And it's not, I don't feel like it's just Mad Hatter either. I feel like it's kind of across the board with quite a few characters.
All right, so speaking of the tonal shift you were talking about with Penguin,
yes.
What did we think about Penguin's storyline today? How did he do with his, his first day in the office, basically?
Yeah, there was the whole, it seemed like he had a parade, but only invited the press. There was no public there whatsoever, like standing and cheering. It was all just people with cameras, like taking his picture. And then that statue of his mom felt like they just sent...
So tragic.
They sent like a PA and just said, we have to have a statue of a woman. Go search the prop house. Find any woman you can find. It looked nothing like Carol Kane.
Nothing like Carol Kane. At all.
And just bring us back a statue of a woman.
Oh my God.
That will then destroy.
What you said about the press is interesting, though, because what got him elected was the people. You know, like, it's the public that really appreciates him. And it's also the public that they were trying to turn against Penguin, but we didn't get to see that element in this episode so much.
Right.
So that would be interesting to see going forward. But it would have been nice to have more of.
And you know, it feels like it's so fantastical that no one this crazy could be in elected office. But
No, it's not.
but then,
Sorry, I just honked.
Oh my God.
but then you look and you go,
Yeah.
well,
It's a
every
cautionary
time you
tale.
think nothing can go this far, and every single day you read something new. So it's not as fantastical, I think, as they were hoping when they wrote it.
Right. It turned out that life imitated art, unfortunately.
Yes.
But I did love the scenes that we got between Penguin and Nigma early on in the episode, and I love the tension of not knowing whether Nigma was going to turn on him or not. Like, there was a moment when I really thought, like, oh my God, don't tell me that he's actually
Yeah, I was
going to
super
have Penguin
concerned
killed.
when Nigma came to Butch and said, I want to run Gotham.
Yeah.
And it seemed inconsistent, but also plausible with his character.
Right.
So there was a lot of like heart pumping for me during that moment where I'm like, oh my God, is this like what the season's going to be like?
Yeah.
And then you realize it was all for the love of Penguin. So it ended up being okay, but
Right.
that was alarming.
It was okay, but then it was also like, no, you can't do that to Butch.
Oh,
So.
God, yes. Sweet, tender Butch.
But it also feels a bit, I mean, in previous seasons of Gotham, I feel like those types of storylines would have just been sort of crammed in one issue and resolved and then moved past. So to continue to see that tension between Nigma and Butch, I think is a nice, interesting dynamic where they're kind of letting stuff breathe a bit more this season.
They are. and that's-
Absolutely.
yeah,
They're taking their time, which is new. I think now they realize that they have time. It's not like first season we might get canceled, second season, oh God, what's gonna happen? They think they're like, oh, we've got at least like 2 more seasons left in this. We can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, because like ratings are hitting the floor, like no matter what show you're watching. So at this point, it's
Yeah.
like, we have to renew everything.
Yeah.
But speaking of Nigma and Penguin, I know there was a moment there where I think we all thought that maybe they were gonna kiss, and that did not happen. Which, I don't know, some of us may be more upset about that than others.
I
mean,
was personally very disappointed that the kiss didn't happen. Not because I'm not a huge Nigmabblepot shipper. I know that fandom
what was the
exists,
ship
and I
name
get
again?
where they're coming from.
What is it? Nigmabblepot?
Nigmabblepot.
Oh my God. Okay, well that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah,
but
like
it
their mouths
exists.
should be full
It's
of each
there.
other, but they're not. So the ship name may as well be.
It was only until last episode where I really started to see it. You know, I started to like really watch their interactions together, and I thought like, oh, this is what the writers are taking this, and that's great. Like I'm glad that they're going in this direction. And then this episode, when they're on the couch, snuggled up by the fireplace in
I
a
braced
Pendleton
myself for
blanket
it.
with a cup of tea after one had a near-death experience.
Yep.
And
He's like,
they
I would do
lean
anything
in
for you.
And
It
they
was even the
bro
title.
hug.
It was like the title of the episode. Like, I would do anything for you is basically their storyline, and then
Yeah.
just like let's shake on it. It was
Yeah,
cool.
and then just like a fart noise, basically. Just like a giant fart noise happens.
Well, I mean, I feel like, you know, in a show this campy, there's certainly, I feel like they have got the wiggle room to dance around that sort of thing. But I don't feel like they, with any of the really established, like, Batman universe characters, I don't feel like they are willing to sort of bend them to something
Right.
like that yet. I mean,
Towards queerness, but they had Montoya in season 1.
Yes.
Yes?
They
did.
have a queer
And they
tigress,
wasted
and they have
her.
a queer,
I'm
very
not
different Barbara Gordon.
right. I'm not saying that it's not possible to have, you know, queer people in the show. You know, we certainly have seen lots of allusions to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they would make that sort of I wouldn't even want to say tectonic shift, because you could see it from both Penguin and Riddler in their comic versions. You know, there certainly are, you know, gay villains, you know, especially like in the Flash universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially with Batman comics.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
for me. It's just a question of either you don't go there, show them as friends, because you can easily show a platonic male friendship very beautifully without doing those like long gaze scenes where it's very obvious they want you to think they're gonna kiss. Don't do that if you're not gonna deliver. That's all I ask.
Precisely.
That's all I ask.
My thoughts exactly, Tatiana.
Or you get the tiny fart sound.
The old tiny fart noises will be made
Tatiana
by
delivers
Alexis. Anyway, Enigma didn't just save Cobblepot's life in a scheme that he created on his own. He also showed up at the GCPD again and made everyone's lives miserable. So.
And got clocked.
Yes! Oh my God, that was amazing. I saw it in the promo and I was so ready for it, but I still squealed a little bit when Lee did it, live.
I'm glad they gave the punch to Lee.
Yes. Yeah, because
Yes.
she was close with Miss Pringle, and
Yeah,
I don't know,
she liked Kristen.
yeah.
And then just pow!
It felt like everyone
was
else had forgotten about her,
glorious.
so.
I felt it.
Yes. Oh my God, me too. And I also loved Lucia standing up to him too, like on behalf of Bruce as well as himself. That was
Yes. Well, and on behalf of himself, Nigma wanted to gas him
Yes,
to death
yes.
fairly recently.
great. And then Nick was like, "Well, it was fine. It wasn't. I wasn't really trying to hurt you, and also I was going through something, so
Yeah.
I do love that people aren't letting him get away with that, but at the same time, it's funny to see him use it as an excuse. Because
Right.
so often in shows, white male characters do just get to get away with stuff and be like, oh no, I was going through something, don't worry about it. And this time they're
I'm
like,
brilliant. I can get away with this stuff. I'm Sherlock Holmes. Not
Yes.
to throw too much shade on certain television shows. But
then,
watching like almost everyone in the GCPD be like, we don't like you and here's why, means
Yes.
that there's accountability on this show.
exactly, I love that.
Because, they spent 2 seasons sort of establishing him as this sort of, spineless worm that, just bugs people and, that they don't like. And then suddenly he's in charge. Like he could have, the commissioner come in
Right.
and replace the captain. I mean, that's a great, not just turning the tables, that's flipping the table over and,
Absolutely.
giving a middle finger.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see people sort of writhe under that
Yeah.
new power. And speaking
This is
of,
when I wish we still had Montoya and Crispin.
like, where did they even go? I don't understand what happened. They were just like, okay, well,
Bloodhaven.
yeah.
I hear they're in Bloodhaven.
I miss them so much. That was literally why I started watching the show. Oh, they suckered me in. Anyway.
I would have loved to see Montoya face off against Nigma in this episode.
Yes. She would have been able to punch him too. Just
Yes.
1-2 punch from Lee and
Yeah,
Renee.
double.
Oh, well. But Barnes also had his own dilemma at GCPD this episode. So how's his transformation coming along?
I'm wondering what his real self is. Like, what's the core of Captain Barnes? Because we're gonna find out soon.
Right. I mean, he was really. I was a little bit concerned when he was alone with Lee, but he was super. He was super understanding with her. And then when he got like really mad at the end there, I was like, oh, I don't know where that's gonna lead us to.
I feel like Alice blood-infected Captain Barnes will just be Jim Gordon. Just like
That's true. So that's already what Jim
going
Gordon's
after
like
people,
every day.
no respect
That's
for
so
the
true.
law, shooting folk. Just Jim.
Or maybe he'll just have like even more respect for it, and then like get super pissy at Jim. Like he's already pissed at Jim for the way that
That's
he disrespects
true.
things, but now he'll just like clock him every time he sees him.
Extreme Law and Order Barnes.
Exactly. Oh my God. No, it'll just literally be Law and Order will be every other sentence that he says. What we need is Law and Order until they finally uncancel that show.
I think they're going to give him a more monstrous transformation.
Yeah.
I do. I think, we're kind of starting to see the beginning of, the angry red mist that comes over him. But I think, we haven't seen the last of the monsters in Gotham.
Oh, that's true.
And he
always gotta have new
he might
monsters.
just be one of them.
Yeah, I'm wondering what he's going to face off with Mad Hatter inevitably. I wonder
Right.
what that's going to be like.
I guess that'll be interesting. I mean, maybe it's because it's called Mad City, right? So it's got to be a kind of season-long arc with the Mad Hatter.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got to be their
So
dude.
maybe there'll be like season finale showdown. Only one can live.
It'll be about like season 7 of The Shield, I suspect. A lot of really angry Vic Mackey, like.
Oh my God! I literally
just
forgot that he was from the
snapping
Shield. I was
spines
like, "What are you, Agents of Shield?"
No, he's Vic Mackey from the Shield, man.
So the bad guys this episode it was not actually Mad Hatter. It was the Red Hood Gang 2.0, right? So I know we were just talking about Butch, sort of going to the wayside. So what did we think about his interactions with the Red Hood Gang and about their, pitiful villainy itself? Oops, I already said what I thought.
I love that they brought back the Red Hood Gang. I think it's a precursor to Jerome resurgence because where there are Red Hoods, there are Jokers.
That's so true.
And I like, since they were like fairly pitiful thugs, I do like the idea that like that's where Butch is comfortable. Mm-hmm. Like hiring a bunch of idiots.
Those are the only people he can lead.
Yeah, those are the people that he can be in charge of. It's like a bunch of lunkheads.
Yeah.
To carry out this plan that like wasn't extraordinarily well thought out, but like it came from the thief heart. The villain heart that he has. And
it was kind of working, if he had been left.
Almost sweet.
Yeah, it really was. Like, once I realized that he was in charge of what was going on, I was like, oh, okay, that's why nothing really bad is happening.
Yeah,
like, the statues are being destroyed.
It's actually kind of cute that he's doing this.
Yeah, and everyone was taken off the bus before it was. Yeah. We're not trying to hurt you.
Yeah, except that one priest. Rest in peace, Father, whatever your name is.
You guys go on with your day. Just make sure you told everyone that Penguin sucks. Thanks.
I want to know what
search. Butch and nuns?
What search Butch typed into like Angie's List to find thugs, smart enough to carry out his plans, but dumb enough to not be packing so much that he couldn't just murder them when he needed to dispose of them altogether.
Yeah,
that's a fine line to find thugs like that.
Which reminds me, when he turned around and killed them all, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Recall that Butch is brutal AF.
Yeah, I know, but it was so because he's been such a cuddly bear up until that point,
You
For
can
a while,
never forget his
season
heart
one Butch
is
was
as cold
a
as his
bad
metal hand.
mofo.
Yeah, I know. That's when he was with. Yeah, that's so true. But
when he was with Fish.
Yeah, but since then it's like I've just started loving him more and more, and now I was like, oh, that's right. He can just straight up murder everybody.
Yeah.
And did.
Yes. And he did. He
left
did
a
not.
big pile on the floor, which is how Enigma is able to sort of piece it all together and point it back at him.
Yeah. But then his cute little face when Penguin comes in, and he was like the cat that brought you a half-dead mouse.
Yes.
And it's like, look, I got them for you. I did it, Mom.
Oh, no.
Here's the 6 dead thugs I got you.
Well, I guess it's the size of the cat brings in different rats,
That's
right?
true. Significantly larger cat.
Something like that.
Right. But then the fact that, I think that Butch is just tender at heart. Mm-hmm. So the fact that the only way he would actually betray Penguin was to use Tabitha against Butch
yes.
was important for me.
I thought that was a great moment. I hate that Tabitha was used that way, but it just shows sort of the level of Butch's loyalties,
Yeah. Butch, as far as being a loyal human, he has definitely different segments of where his heart lies. Mm-hmm. But that's the core of his character. Butch is loyal. Butch is a loyal dog.
and
it was interesting to see where his priorities lie. Because he did still, even to the end, he loved Penguin.
Yeah, but
not the end. He's not friggin' dead.
He's loyal, but there's also an expectation to him
to protect them.
When he lashed back out, saying, "I gave you everything," it's not,
He wanted something in return.
Exactly. Yeah. There's something more behind it than just sort of being the whipping boy.
Yeah.
Or the henchman.
Yeah. And you recall the fact that he was so close to Fish that he. In the first season finale, he shot Fish, but also shot Penguin. He loved her so much and was so close to her that he couldn't only harm her, even though he was all brainwashed by Zaz. I think Butch is one of the most stalwart characters on Gotham.
Yeah. Huh. Butch, the true hero of Gotham.
Butch is the true hero of Gotham. Just saying. Just you wait.
I really did love, first Tabitha's well, you owe me, but then at the end of it, she's the one that's going to break him out. you know?
Yes.
So I
Finally
love how
seeing Tabitha do something that I like. It was the first time on this show.
The first time she's done something you like. I do love how, in turn, like, they're all sort of loyal to each other, even when they snip at each other. Like, Barbara and Tabitha and Bruce. I just want to talk about Bruce, obviously. I meant Butch. But yeah, they all get mad at each other, and they all, like, threaten to turn on each other, but at the end of the day, they've got each other's backs. So.
They really do. I mean, that would be a fascinating throuple if Gotham ever wanted to go into the, open relationship bubble.
I learned so much fandom terminology from you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Truffle?
It seemed like bringing Zaz back this episode was kind of a wasted appearance. I mean, it was nice to have him at the table with all the other sort of mob bosses, but then just how he played into the rest of the episode, it felt like if you're going to bring him back, really use that guy.
Yeah, do something good, and because like when Zaz turns up, like it's fun time. Like it's gonna get weird, it's gonna get sexy, and it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna get sexy.
And just having him be like someone
that's what people say about our show
in this plan. It didn't make any sense to me with his character. Like I feel like Zaz, as they've established, would never be on Nigma's team in that way.
Right, and we didn't get to see why he was really. Like that was, it would have been cool if we saw.
Zaz is one of the least developed, but one of the best side characters that they have. It was a total waste.
Yeah, it would have been
I mean, I get it because Anthony Carrigan is a very busy man right now. He's got an HBO pilot in the works.
Right.
But like, I was so excited to see Zaz on screen again, and they just like
if you're gonna make time for him, then really make time for him. It would have been a good use of showing first how smart Nigma is that he can get him on his team, and then of course like what it would take to get Zaz
exactly.
on there. So, but oh well, doesn't always happen.
We'll see.
Before we talk about my favorite ridiculous baby love couple, just remember that you can send in any questions you have to #GothamAftershow so that we can talk about them after this segment, or you can talk to us in the YouTube chat. So, Bruce and Selina, you guys. Bruce went to go look for Ivy for Selina because he loves her and he's ridiculous. So, what do we think about him and, his bro romance talk with Gordon?
Oh, it was delightful. I mean, we have a comment from Jordan Valdez who says, "Would you like to see more of Jim giving Bruce advice?"
Absolutely.
And I'm like, yes. I would watch an entire talk show of Jim Gordon and his bad choices giving young men advice.
Oh my God,
I would do it
too. And they always turn it around on him, like, well, did you do that yet? And then we have to have a little segment of Jim either, totally messing up or actually heeding advice.
Yes.
Selina, though, she gets away with quite a lot for a young woman. Like, she's got the most game I've ever seen.
Yeah. Like,
how does she keep finding nice dresses for events?
16? 15?
I think she's 16 now. But yeah, where is she getting these dresses? Like, from the wallets she's stealing, obviously.
Everywhere
she goes and buys a dress.
keeps getting into some of the most prestigious parties and events in Gotham, and is always dressed to the nines. Her hair is done.
To the nines. She
and
had
she's
those,
telling
like,
Bruce,
Valentino
you don't know anything
spike
about.
Heels on today. I'm like, I see those shoes, girl. I know those.
And then they went somewhere private to talk, which is always like, she knew what was coming from the moment he said that. That was like the oldest line in the book. But like, they couldn't hear what was going on when they went somewhere private to talk. Like, that was like some really private place. It took them the entire length of the fight to get there, and then by the time they were there, they couldn't hear anything anymore.
All the way up to the
Right.
roof. I have to talk to you. Let's climb 15 flights together. Not in these shoes.
Right. But she was so mean to him. I can't handle it. Like, I love them together, and I love her so much. She's my favorite, whatever, DC character, basically. But she's so, like, I guess partially, like, she still, like, doesn't want to get her heart broken, Because I feel like she's, like, super into him, and yet she has to act like she finds him boring,
She's also very pragmatic. She's like, I'm literally homeless, and you're a billionaire.
That's so true, yeah. I mean, that's true. The class differences always get in the way whenever he makes.
And I feel like she's aware of that, but also, that girl's got game.
Yes.
Like, if she's, because, I mean, this is future Batman
Right.
and future Catwoman. She's got to keep him on the line for like another decade. This was a
And
great
she knows
start
just
to
how
that.
far to push him too. Like it's like
Yeah.
she will take it to like where it's like literally if she says one more thing, he's just gonna walk out of there, and then she's like, okay, let's kiss now.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to learn that.
I
need to learn that.
admire that swag. I wish I had that level.
Oh Lord. Thoughts on Batcat?
Batcat.
Batcat. That's what I call them. I don't know what
Batcat
y'all
is a
call
thing.
them.
We are on the Kardashian show. Yeah, I mean, you knew that was coming. That was sort of harsh, her analysis of, have you even, met another woman?
But so true.
Kind of true.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have a
That's true.
almost romance
He
in
did
a
have
previous
he did
season.
have a kind of girlfriend last season.
That
He totally
then he-
forgot about that.
Right.
That he
Her
completely
uncle almost
discounted.
sacrificed him, but go on.
Yeah. But like, and even with that one, like when he like whispered in her ear stuff, and then he was like, "Oh, I whispered that stuff to her, but I meant it about you." Like he's got some game
Yeah.
too. He knows what's up.
I just imagine after that scene, she goes home and she's like writing in her diary about if Bruce or the doppelganger like kisses better.
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Like-
which one kisses better?
Yeah.
So
Bruce
true.
or real Bruce?
I feel like it had to have been our Bruce because her face after the doppelganger kissed her was kind of like, I remember it being better than that. I have to imagine doppelganger like didn't get like the kissing gene enhanced.
He got the
Yeah, he wouldn't have had that.
boxing gene
Well,
and
that
the.
one's useful. That one's useful.
Yeah, I mean, and Bruce is a future billionaire playboy, so he's got to start somewhere.
So next week, Mad Hatter. Well, he already came back this episode, but he's gonna be back in a big way next week.
Seems to be, yes.
Yeah. So, anything you're looking forward to with him? Anyone else you hope he kills in any particularly gruesome way?
I'm not saying he has to kill anyone, but maybe we'll get some more. I mean, it was kind of gruesome this time that he's like, oh look, he's got a new Alice. Oh, she's already
And
gone.
then,
And
Yeah.
it was what, so that he could write Jim Gordon's name in her blood? Is that what was happening? Did I
that
understand
was
that
first, 'cause,
correctly?
like, you
That-
could have gotten
pretty much.
blood elsewhere for that
Yeah.
little of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just use like red gel pen next time, Mad Hatter.
Right?
God.
Apparently, there's no CVS pharmacies to
He
buy
just
that.
had to grab it
or
Not at
off the
all.
street.
Dwayne Reed's in
Oh
Gotham.
God.
But I am pumped to see more of Mad Hatter because, I mean, it is Mad City.
Right.
And I like how his character, like, we haven't seen much, like, magic stuff since season 1, since the Venom episode. Like, we've had, like, ooh, psychology and making monsters. But having, like, a straight-up magical hypnotist is, like, a push closer to the crazy Gotham City we all know and
Yeah,
love.
definitely. I at least want to see what he can do.
Yeah. So watching him manifest into this, like, oh, I'm going to kidnap random people and pretend they're my dead sister. Like, you see the impetus of what he's doing.
Right.
And you see how he's going to use his, like, magical watch to do it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I guess this is
sold
how
me.
they're gonna bring back some Jim and Lee too, right? Because in the promo,
Yeah, and
he's got Valerie and Lee up in
Yeah,
there.
the whole love triangle's
Which reminds
under
me,
the gun.
I didn't say anything about Valerie this episode, but at first I was like, they're not into their relationship at all. Like, I don't know what's going on. But by the end, their last scene was cute. Like that one, I was like, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Now that you're
I
gonna
think
destroy
was,
it next week. I
That
see
might have
where
been
it's coming
a
from.
Mackenzie thing where they didn't seem like they were really into each other.
Yeah.
Until it was written explicitly that they were into each other. But, okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
We'll let that slide.
So hopefully she doesn't just die next week because Jim chooses Lee.
not.
That would be really upsetting.
Right?
Someone
then, like,
please save
her
Valerie
dying
now.
brother is like, I'm going to name my child Vicky for a V in your name, dead sister.
There you go. Yeah, because she's supposed to be Vicky's aunt, right? So
Yeah.
like her sister just comes to the funeral and be like, oh,
Right?
her namesake, sort of. Vicky, so sad.
Kind of like a little
But yeah.
tiny baby Vicky Vale. Just like also too young for Bruce, so like, I don't know if that's going to work out.
Nothing is age appropriate.
Nothing in this show is age appropriate
So
at all,
we have
including
a couple,
Ivy. Good God.
We have a couple of questions, I think. And one of them was from Alma Diaz, who wanted to know something that I have totally forgotten. Oh, here we go.
Amadeus.
Alma Diaz said, so what do you guys think about Tabitha breaking Butch out of the ambulance? And we sort of talked about this, but I just want to say I love Tabitha. Like, after this episode, she's like one of my favorite characters right now.
Yeah, like I was never a big Tabitha fan. I never understood their relationship until now.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
I never saw her reciprocating Butch's devotion, which we saw in multiple episodes last season. But then, you know, she was his basically bait to kill Penguin today. And the fact that she returned that favor, it's like, I'm going to save you, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
That's when I realized, like, oh, she actually really cares about him.
Right. Because
And
before,
it
I
seems
liked her
sudden because I didn't get that until now, but I love it.
Yeah, I liked her dynamic with Barbara before, but then it made the Butch thing weird because it was supposed to be. I was like, something's supposed to be happening there, but I'm not seeing that at all. Like you
Yeah, I
said.
wasn't sensing.
So now it's like you see at least they all love each other, however, in whatever way that is. I don't know.
Right.
But they do.
Trouble.
Do you have any feelings on Tabitha breaking Butch out?
I mean, I completely agree. It was nice to see a little bit of the reciprocation finally, because it does feel like she's been keeping him at arm's length for many, many episodes.
My revelation said that Tabitha has always been one of the best. And you know what? In terms of her being like always going to the bat for Barbara, I totally agree. I've loved her from the start, but this is the first time that I think the characterization they gave her makes even more sense.
Yes.
You know, 'cause, like they've said things about her that hadn't come to fruition until now.
Yes.
Also, her like pulling out that knife or whatever it was and attacking the dude who was trying to attack her.
Yeah.
Was
She
amazing.
shanked 2 dudes tonight.
Yes, that was so badass. Plus, we got to see her with the whip. You know, like we don't get to see that very often. So.
Very true.
Yeah.
I mean, future tigress as she is.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
we should have gotten a lot more whip action than we
Yeah,
had so far.
and like they have the club, right? Like we barely see Barbara and Tabitha like doing anything like at the club. Like I don't know. I think she could do some like
right.
whip
Besides just like
demonstrations.
looking really hot and getting hypnotized.
Yes,
It's like a vaudeville show now on the stage.
exactly.
Got plate spinners and
Someone long ago in here asked, and I thought it was awesome. They asked if Selina was too much for Bruce, and someone else responded, or is Bruce too much for Selina? So I would love to know.
Selena's too much for Bruce.
I think that's 100% accurate. Like, yes, Selina is too much for Bruce. He can't handle it. But I wonder if she sort of feels like his world is too much for her to deal with, and that's why she pushes him away. Like you said, she's always aware of the class differences.
Oh, that's totally accurate. Actually, yeah. So you're both right, commenters. Good job. You nailed it.
You figured out the dynamic, which has eluded us all.
But yeah, I mean, I think in all incarnations of sort of the Batman-Catwoman relationship, Catwoman is too much for Bruce / Batman.
And that's why he's
And
scared
this-
little. He's like the scared little cat running away.
Yes.
Right.
Bat flying out of the cave. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Metaphors.
It'll be interesting to see in the context of the show when that flips. And it has to flip just from like a narrative standpoint.
Yeah. I mean, I
Like-
guess it's like when Bruce is old enough to, I don't know, start actually being Bruce Wayne, right?
Right.
And
To
Selina
own
doesn't
the
have
fact
that
that he's
same,
like a billionaire playboy
Yeah,
who's
exactly.
growing like 2 inches a week.
right, and he can't like bring like
He's so
random
tall
homeless
now.
girl
Dear
on
God.
his arm.
Did you see he was taller than Jim tonight?
Yeah, and they pointed out like how tall, like how
Yeah, it's
big
like,
he's
oh,
getting.
you've grown.
That's what happens. You've got a growth spurt on TV.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, my revelation says Barbara will get jealous and betray Tabitha because Barbs don't play number 2. Is that
you're
gonna
right,
happen?
though.
Do you know this is gonna happen, or do you think it's gonna happen? Because it hurts me to think about that.
I feel like it would be very reductive for Barbara to do that, but also if Tabitha's going to like break Butch out of an armored
Right.
ambulance to save him, I feel like Barbara's not going to be chill with that.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully she'll go crazy like she does, but like to get them back to her, you know, like to pull Tabitha back in.
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like with Butch it's also weird because like if you go back to season 1, Barbara hates Butch. Barbara hates Butch and Barbara hates Zaz because they threatened to sexually assault her twice.
Which is never good. Don't do that.
Right, which, like, don't do that. And they kidnapped her and tied her to a chair and offered her muffins.
Yeah.
Which, like, is never great.
That
So
is-
I feel
that
like
is
Butch
true.
in particular might be a sore spot for Barbara, the fact that Tabitha still feels for him.
Right.
That we've seen just tonight.
And I would love to see that come back, like, actually verbally. You know, you want to get more connections to the previous seasons. So I think that would
Yes,
be a good thing.
I wish they recalled more of season 1 than they do, because they seem to have forgotten a lot of things.
Okay, I think that's all the time that we have for today. But thank you guys so much for watching Gotham and then talking about it with us. And we will be back shortly with Welcome to the Batcave to talk about Batman in general. And make sure you can watch it on thestream.tv. Bye.
Bye.